And we are live. Good morning, Anna. How are you? It's so lovely to have you on here again today. It doesn't seem like a month since we were last talking together. However, I think maybe we did our previous one a little later. And this is, of course, our February second one for the year. So welcome to everyone who's here, comes in or watches the replay. We've got a really interesting, stimulating conversation today. So I want to hand over to my wonderful co-conversationalist, Anna, and let you talk about how we're going to lead into this conversation for today.
Thank you, Karen. Hello, everybody. So today is our second session of the year, and I'm so looking forward to the whole year rolling out. And today we're talking about the role we choose to play in the movie that we decided to create it for our life. And if you haven't listened to the last one, that was the one we were talking about making decision, deciding how big you want your life, 10 out of 10 life to be like. So when we decided that, with clarity and sometimes a bit foggy, sometimes we have to go through the fog to get to the other side to see a little bit more clarity. And along the journey, we have to choose the roles that we're going to play, right? To get to the other side or to stay stuck in that foggy stage of mind. So for me, that question is like in the frontal lobe of my mind. When I embark on the journey of uncertainty, there's so much unknown step ahead of me. I have to constantly asking myself these questions. And I think as entrepreneur, we have to answer them. I'm sure you have your question. And when my question at the time was how big I want to be to scale this, because I have a project. How big I want to scale. How long can I go? How long can this project last after I'm gone? Not just for my lifetime. Why am I embarking on this? Why do I waste my time doing something if it's not going to last after I left? Those kind of questions has become so dominant when I step out to say, I am an entrepreneur now. And of course, it took years. It takes time to answer the questions. It didn't come straight away. It was so scary in the early days. What am I going to do? How big can I go? How far can I go? How am I going to scale this? What do I leave for the next generation? When I left, who will pick it up? When I work in the office, I had that kind of thinking, but I would think, what if I leave this position? Who will replace me and do it better? As a leader in an organization, you think of that. You think, what if that person is promoted? How quickly can you replace that person so that everything will run smoothly? So entrepreneur will have to answer that question. So it took me a while. And I think now I could say I have the answer that is, I can explain it to my daughter, which is great. I want simplicity, because if you say something and it's too complicated to understand, it's hard to pass down. It's really hard to pass on to others. So what do you share about that, Karen?
Well, I love what you said, and I'm glad you brought up the word entrepreneur, because that's what this series is all about and who it's for. I want to ask you, though, I think it's a great point too, that we want to be able to explain or use words and explanations that an 11-year-old child will understand, because that's what our subconscious mind understands, by the way, or younger. 5-year-old. I think it's a 5-year-old child. And so we always want to use language that our subconscious mind will understand. And so what I want to ask you is, how would you explain it to your 9 or 10-year-old daughter?
She's now 11. But we talked about this in those days. Like, what am I going to do? I talked to my daughter all along as if she was like another friend. I treated her like a friend, and I was asked a question that is like, other mother would think it's silly, but I would say, what do you think of this? I am running a business. What do you think I should do? And she would say, oh, boring business. She can say that sometimes, but that's the kind of things I often think, say, if I can't explain it to her, then it is difficult to explain to other people who are not on the journey to understand what I'm doing. So that's another thing I am in our communication. When we embark on, let's say, creating something, we have to invite people into our mission. Yeah. Step into that vision together. We have to be able to communicate that to others. And I struggled for so long. Like my husband didn't know what I was talking about for ages. My daughter didn't know what I was doing for ages. And then I was like, I have to be able to get my husband on board one way or another. He doesn't have to do what I do, but getting on board means there's a fully support of whatever course that you do, and as much as I fully support whatever he does, just like that.
Yes.
So how did I explain to my daughter the role we play in this earth? Almost, whether you are an entrepreneur or not. It's like,
how or what you do, exactly, what role you're playing in your movie.
Exactly. And for
that
that
it is a movie. How did you explain that it is like being in a role in a movie?
I have to step back a little bit before I answer that question. When we think about a movie, we will see so many roles in the movie. There will be lead role, supportive role, and the producer roles. And the the lead roles is often the one who prevail, carry the message, the good one, and then there's the opposed role, like the devil. There's always the good and the devil, the evil and the saint speaking and fighting. And then they're behind the scene roles, so many roles, like you said. So you can decide which role you play in that. That is one way of seeing, like you explained it to me earlier. What do you think? What do you think of how do you choose a role when you know that there's so many roles in a movie? How do you choose it?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Let's step back to that, and then I'll say I'll explain the clarity, the simple way that I see how I can explain to my daughter the way she can decide her role and her movie as well.
Well, for me, I talk about always directing our subconscious or unconscious mind to where we want it, because otherwise it will just default to things that aren't even true, because it believes everything we tell it. And what happens is, as we grow up, or as we become adults, or as we develop, we hear comments and beliefs from other people about what limits us in general, like the human race, what may limit us ourselves personally, what our parents thought limited them. And also we make decisions around not being enough in some way. Okay. And that can be simply because a parent or a loved one or a family member looked at us in a particular way, in a particular situation. Maybe we did something a little bit naughty and they gave us a look that was like telling us off, and we make it mean, oh, when I do that, my mum doesn't love me. I'm not lovable enough. Or, oh, when my mum looks at me like that, she's angry with me because I'm not good enough. So the way I approach it is that we're going to tell our unconscious mind with the development of this movie, with the directorship of this movie, what we want our unconscious or subconscious mind to know. So the first thing is to know that I am, because I am is the most powerful place we can come from, the most powerful words. I am the producer. I am the writer.
Mm-hmm.
I am the director, and I am the star. And I get to choose what role I'm playing at any one time. And so when we start to do that, we're getting this now, the subconscious mind to think. And then you begin to imagine yourself playing the role of the person who's living the life you would love in that movie, living, feeling good in your own skin.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, feeling better and better and better with every passing day. And you tell yourself, I'm feeling better in the movie. I'm feeling better and better with every passing day. And you start saying that to yourself over and over. And with each passing day. And even though you might not believe it right now, even though you might say, I'm getting better and better, I'm getting wealthier and wealthier, I'm getting more skilled and an expert, becoming an expert, all of these things, even though you might not believe it right now at that point, okay, you might not be feeling its truth at that point, but there's a part of you saying, so there's a part of you saying, oh, you're not this or that, you're not good, you're not great, you're not an expert, you're not beautiful, whatever. And that part is not going to go away just with the snap of the fingers. That's the thing, because the patterning is so deeply ingrained. So, but what we know through neuroscience and other experts in this area is that if you keep saying it anyway, and you keep saying it over and over and over time, there's a response in you to the positive things that you're saying. Your subconscious mind starts to believe the image that you're portraying for yourself, about yourself, and the life that you're living. Your subconscious mind starts to believe it's actually happened. So you can fool your subconscious mind into believing you're in that movie as the hero. If you do it often enough, if you dream about it often enough, if you tell your unconscious mind that's the way it is, or you can not do that with simple little thinking or responses that you've made in the past, unconsciously not noticing what they are, that you've formed something that's not even true, because your unconscious mind believes whatever you tell it. It doesn't critique what you're saying to it. And as soon as our unconscious mind has a particular belief or thought, then we're sending it out at a frequency. And that's the magic of the metaphysical world. So that's my answer. Long answer.
That way is amazing. I think a lot of books talk about the magic of speaking to yourself, of what you want. Self-talk. Self-talk is an amazing tool. That is one of the power that we got. You know, that we have thought, then we have words that we speak from the thought, and then we act out of what we're thinking. So first of all, we have to feed the mind with what we want to act. Otherwise, the mind will feed you with what you don't want.
Yeah.
You don't want to act out. And acting out is the only way to manifest things, right? So they say the size of your life work, of your impact, is a reflection of the size of your thinking. When the first time I heard that, I didn't believe it. Because I don't know how to measure the size of my thinking.
Yeah.
And thinking big is scary.
It is.
It's very unfamiliar. It's very unfamiliar, uncomfortable. So when I first read that, I didn't believe it. I said, I can't do this. And my mentor keeps saying, do it every day. Do it to yourself. You can even stand in the mirror and talk to yourself that you are great. You are greater than you think. Your life is not just for the paycheck. And I knew that. That night, when I was crying, thinking, is this all? Is this all my life is about? Get up, go to work, and go home, cook. and then tidy up, watch a little bit of TV, and then get up, go to work, and go home, watch a little bit of TV. Is this all? There's so many nights before I change that I felt like this is not like meant to be. I've been working so hard for 2 decades, job after job, and this is what it is all about. But then I didn't know how to think any differently until, one day I had enough. I have to step out. I have to step out. There must be something out there in the world. But that voice is very timid, the voice of like, who are you to be thinking that you can do anything? And you were born from a very, your family had nothing. I didn't have any asset growing up with, growing up in the war. All those voices just going on and stopping me from believing that I can do something bigger. But then I blame myself for not being born into, like silver spoon privilege with a lot of asset. And I thought if I were born into that, I would have done something amazing. If I was born with, with certain looks, I would have done something amazing.
Yeah.
I used to think so. And then now I think, to be honest, I say, I'm so glad I was born that way.
Yeah.
When I find a way, finally, I can tell you all that you can do it. If I was born silver spoon, and have everything ready, then I cannot be in the position to tell people that there's a way for you to come and build from scratch. Start now. 5 and 10 years later, your life will be completely changed. And it happened to me, and I can see the path. And how it's all rolling out. And I picked up the book, Think and Grow Rich, Magic of Thinking Big. And at that point in time, my main dominant question was, how can I measure the size of my thinking? And reading those books, it has an answer. It didn't give me the simple answer that satisfied my soul. So I keep on asking, I keep on meeting people, keep on doing the next step and the next step. And finally I say, okay, that's it. I got it. I got it now. I got it now. It's so simple. It's right there in front of me. The size of your thinking can be measured by 3 dimension. 3 dimension. When I talk about dimension, what come to your mind?
Size, space, spiritual. There's many different physical. Depends how you look at it.
Okay.
Visual
when we talk about dimension, we think about 3-dimensional, right?
Yeah.
Usually. And if you think, oh, it's that simple, let's talk about the space. You're thinking, how big in terms of space? And another dimension is time. How far can you think? What you're doing? How far can it last? How long will that project last? And are you thinking within your family size or within your body size, or you think for the planet Earth? Or you think like Elon Musk? He think of multi-planet species, right? So his size of thinking is surely bigger than many of us in terms of space. So you measure by the space. So I think about all the people on this planet can benefit from my work, then I wouldn't say because I'm Vietnamese or I can only serve Vietnamese, or I cannot speak English well, so I can only serve certain group. If I think for all the people on this planet, I don't think about what colors, what languages, what gender, what age anymore. Do you know what I mean? So when I think of time, I wouldn't think of my own one lifetime. I would think of who will pick up the work that I've done. And why do they want to pick on? And the other dimension is the number of people, because I just realized all my work is to impact people. It is about human relationship. And together we do something for the rest. For the rest of the world that cannot think, cannot feel, like rocks and soil, they can't feel. But we are the one who think and feel and impact them in the way that preserve it or destroy it. So that is my way of thinking. So the three dimension that I'm talking about is that space. How big can I play a role in that space and time and the number of people that my work impact? And when I decided that, oh, I can decide to play a role in this. And somehow because of that revelation, I know who I need to work with, where I need to find the answer. And, the solution is no way. How can you help other people realize that they can get past all these fog and clouds of doubt to reveal the real them and to open up, to connect themselves with something so much bigger than just the mind and the body? Now I feel, thank you so much for asking me that question. And I feel like something speaking through me. It's not just my mouth, my words, or my little mind. My doubtful mind or my fear could have just stopped me from saying this. Thank you, Karen. Back to you.
So there was a lot in what you just said. And I think to wrap up, because we're nearly out of time for today, I think to wrap up, I would like to invite people to think, or invite our guests and the people who watch this to think about.
Recording stopped.
Oh, were we recording? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, were you? Okay. I would like to invite people to think about the law, like Einstein's. It wasn't a law.
Unknown caller.
Oh, sorry. It wasn't a law. It was a his theory of relativity, and he talks about how everything is relative. And you talk about thinking big, or if something is big. We want to think big, but we don't want to look at things in a way that's saying they're bigger than us, so we can't achieve them, right? So we've got to make that distinction and go, I want a big life. I want to be a person who achieves a lot that I don't know how I'm going to achieve right now, but this is what I would love to do, have. And think big without the limitations that come in. Because like you said, they'll all be just negative thoughts and emotions and feelings and beliefs, I should say, that we've got from other people, okay? And so I love Einstein's theory of relativity, where he talks about everything being relative. And so, for example, if you're a person who's on $50,000 a year and you've got a family and 2 children to look after, then to buy a pair of shoes for $3,000 is a huge cost to you. You wouldn't do it, right? Because all of your money would be taken up with daily living. And yet, if someone was a multi-millionaire and they were earning millions in a year, $3,000 would be nothing to them to buy a pair of shoes or anything else, really. And so it shows you how it's not that it's relativity. Things are only truth to you depending on where you're at. And so perception is important. And what we want to do with all of this, with our movie, being the director of our movie, with the role that we're playing, and perceiving that we are the star in that movie about our life. We are the star. We are the person who everyone wants to succeed and everyone's gunning for. We're the star. And when we look at perception being a thing that is our position in space and time. And I love that you brought that up because it prompted me to remember this, is two of the perspectives, or what did you call them? I've just lost that word. Our position in space and time is tied to the direction we are moving. And if I can explain that further, how Einstein explained it is that, remember, we are on a planet that is hurtling around the sun. The Earth is hurtling around the sun, moving at 1,000 miles an hour. And yet, on a still day, we can stand outside and look up at the sky and have the same sense that we are not moving at all. Right? Because our perception is skewed. And why that matters, why I've told this story to finish our session today, why that matters. Perception is so important because I can use this concept to create an open space in my mind. You can use it to create an open space in your mind with regard to the perception or the way that other people think, other people see reality, other people's world, and to challenge beliefs, reality as we see it, and know that all of our reality, each of us individually, our own reality is different to others, but we can both often be correct. So when we stand and on this earth that's hurtling around the sun at 1,000 miles an hour, I can be looking at something, and for me, it's tomorrow, and someone else can be looking at it from another part of the world, and for them, it's yesterday, or vice versa. So that's my closing thought. Open your mind about perception. What is your perception? Is it true? And then how can you change your perception of yourself and become that person living that movie that you've created for yourself as the star or the director or any of those roles that you would like to play?
So wonderful. I find at any moment in that time space and in relation to other people in the 3 dimension, we can always lead our life in a 3 different level so that we can create the size of impact in that space and time. And when I think about that, I feel really humble to be just a person in that 3 dimension. How do we choose our role in that is really important. So in the next session, I will share the 3 levels of leadership in order to choose our role properly. Maybe that people can use these perception to decide for themselves and to have a little more clarity for where they're heading. And that would be our next session, right? So
right,
for entrepreneur, we play an amazing role in this existence in time, space, and in relation to others. So choose your role. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing that up too. That was wonderful. Right. Goodbye, everybody. I hope that you enjoy watching this session or the replay, and we will be back in March for Anna to continue this discussion around perception, around directing the movie and deciding on the role that you're going to play and the pillars that you can use to choose that. Thanks, Anna.
Bye. Bye, Karen. See you next time.
See you next time. Yeah.